Live from New York. Show that's feeling pretty good about the draw. Feeling pretty good.
You know what group we got?
What group?
Group of life.
Ooh.
Right.
We got the group of life this time.
Excellent. More on the World Cup draw
Absolutely.
throughout the show. Starting with the Cowboys season hanging on by a thread. Dak sacked 5 times in Detroit. Lots of yards, but 2 interceptions, and the team lost a fumble. Brou, what grade are you giving the Cowboys?
I said to you the other day, win or lose, get blown out or stomp somebody, Dak always sounds the same.
Yeah.
Optimistic. He's great at the podium. I mean, you know, reporters don't like it because he doesn't really say much, but he handles it really well.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny hearing him say, this is the first time this group has suffered it. This group is like with Quentin, what, 4 games now? Like, so, but look, I am not going to kill the Cowboys. They were, to ask them to beat Philly, Kansas City, and Detroit 3 straight games is a tall task. And they were in Detroit, so they're on the road, playing against a team that probably is better.
Yes.
You know, right? And has been better the last few years. I think that's certainly, and nothing against Brian Schottenheimer, but better coach, certainly more proven coach. And I thought they showed that last night. And they were desperate. So I can't kill the Cowboys for losing. They did some bad things, don't get me wrong. I thought the defensive line, which had been so great with Quentin Williams, wasn't really a factor. They got run on, 5 yards a carry they allowed with the Lions. Dak, the 2 interceptions, I mean, you know, deflection. The last one, they're trying to make something happen.
The first one, I put zero accountability on. The one right after the half.
I couldn't kill Dak.
I mean,
for that.
the last one wasn't that bad either.
No, but I'm
Right,
saying
and he's
this
trying to
first
make
one is
something happen.
0% to me.
Yeah.
Like, that's a well-placed ball.
Right.
But go ahead.
He wasn't as bad as the
numbers.
final numbers might show. He threw for a lot of yards, but the passer rating was low. But he wasn't great. And one of the biggest things, of course, everybody's talking about it, George Pickens, that was very disappointing. I almost lowered their grade as a team because of Pickens. He didn't seem to be, you know, hustling and running out routes at full speed. He clearly wasn't.
Yeah.
I think some of it, you know, a lot of people are saying he was loafing, which might be the case. I think he also was, they took him out of it. There's no doubt he was expecting him to go man, because that's what they played man the whole season. Yeah. But without Terry and Arnold and the injuries, they smartly made some adjustments, and I think that threw him off. Now, that's no excuse, but I think that is some of what we were seeing. Either way, it is a terrible look for him that maybe we'll get to a little later, could cost him. That's why he's not in Pittsburgh, I think.
Yeah.
And so, overall, though, their season's over. I mean, Dak's talking about everybody's ticked off, and, you know, you're going to see that. It's over. It's over. Barring a full collapse from the Eagles, it's over. But I was probably kind to him.
I was going to say.
I gave him a C.
A C is
I gave him a C.
fair.
Okay.
I thought about a D because of Pickens. But overall, I thought it was a C. But you know what?
What?
Last week, I wanted to bring my fellas back.
Yeah.
They were on a world tour. So we don't just bring anybody up in here to sing. We bring top flight singers. So here we go.
Back in the offense, got at it. Now it's all done. There'll be no more fun. I heard them call Dallas the Big D, but that defense didn't bring any. Now it's all done. There'll be no more fun. You can't say Big D. If you don't bring the D, Amar Gibbs referee. We give them a C. You can't say Big D. If you don't bring the D, Amar referee. So we give them a C. C game. C game.
Wow.
Awesome.
Welcome
As
back,
always,
fellas.
welcome back.
I didn't
Good
know
to
you
have
were going
y'all
to be
back
here today. Happy Thanksgiving. Great to see you.
Excellent.
It's fantastic.
Fantastic. and I might have good news for our friends and for the audience who loves them so much. I don't know that I think Dallas is totally dead.
Guys, come back.
Because
the supernatural funk. Well, you think it's already kicked in?
I think it's possible. So listen, the math has stayed the same. Dallas needs 2 more wins than Philly does the remainder of the season. I went into last night thinking Dallas was going to lose.
Yeah.
And for a lot of the reasons Brou is talking about. Dallas had been desperate. Detroit, this was their first true desperate spot. I do think Detroit is the better team. They were at home. All of those reasons, I couldn't see Dallas clipping Philly, Kansas City, Detroit in a span of 11 days. It just didn't seem realistic to me. But I still feel like that Dallas, given who they have the rest of the way, I give them a legit, not a better than 50%, but a legitimate chance to go 4-0. And I think Philly absolutely could go 2-3. So again, they're in bad shape, but I would not eliminate them entirely. I would, however, give someone involved with the Cowboys, and this is going to annoy Wild, I imagine, but I apologize, it's just my opinion, an F. And that person is Jerry Jones. Because this game was lost in September. I wonder if Jared Goff would have looked as comfortable playing against Micah Parsons. Well, a week ago, we saw him play against Micah Parsons, and Micah Parsons on Thanksgiving had more sacks, almost as many tackles for a loss, and more quarterback pressures than the Cowboys team yesterday. And so people can talk all they want about the bad run defense with Micah Parsons. That's a bad defense without him, even though they have shown more signs of life post adding Quinnen Williams, who is a really good player. But the bridge between really good, sometimes great player and consistent game wrecker is massive. And that's the bridge between perennial Pro Bowl, occasional All-Pro, and future first ballot Hall of Famer, which is the type of career Micah is carving out. So that's why I'd give Jerry, one of the reasons I'd give him an F. And the other one is because everyone was so anxious. Every time the last couple months brought up Micah, it was like, yeah, but on the flip side, that savvy George Pickens trade.
It did look great.
Of course it did. And color me just dumbfounded that George Pickens did not change who he has always been every step of his football life in 10 weeks in Dallas. Wow. He is a super talented, wildly immature, unreliable player. And I think, listen, I don't necessarily, you can win with players like that. I'm not saying he doesn't have but the reason Pittsburgh traded him was not just because they thought, oh, we can't use him this year. It was because, man, let's get something for him before we have to make a $30 million a year decision on him. And when last night, if there was ever a time for him to step up, it's in a game when CD gets knocked out. Your running mate's unconscious in the end zone.
Well, he had done that earlier in the year when CD was
correct.
Out. He stepped up.
And listen, he is super talented. I do not think 4 years into his career, he's a professional.
So
for him, go ahead.
No, I was wondering if you thought that, like, this is going to be crazy, but if I was, the wide receivers coach, I'd go over and be like, hey, man, you need to step up or this game might cost you $100 million.
Absolutely.
So whatever you're upset about, like, I wasn't expecting, man, like, well, now it's a $100 million. Like, this was a devastating game.
This was devastating, and it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with his contract. Does Dallas definitely bring him back, or does another team offer him $100 million, as you said? Here's the thing. What last night showed you is what you said. It's still in him. Whether, you said he hasn't changed at all, kind of like he's been fooling us this whole season. Whether it's that or it's still in him. We were questioning that now. He had played so well, so hard, been so consistent that we were really questioning, okay, has he just changed? Has he getting him a good quarterback? Has that changed? And being in Dallas, whatever the case, maybe he's really changed. Now we know, no, this is contract year. And that's why it's so baffling at what he did last night. That is baffling because you can't point to well, the season's over. They've lost 10 games. They're out of the playoffs. There's no reason where you would expect him to play that way, especially in a contract year. That I cannot put my finger on why in the world he would go out there and not give 100%.
It's because there's not always a rhyme. It is very hard at times for mature, reasonable, logical people such as yourself to understand why immature, illogical people act the way they do. And again, I'm a grandfather. I'm an old man. So
I'm locked into you. Right now.
He's probably more mature than I was at his age. So I am not trying to cast giant aspersions on his character as a man. What I am trying to say is that there is a level of maturity that is expected of the best players on your team and the highest paid players on your team, and he has not yet gotten to that place. And a game like last night reminds you how far away from it he very well may be. The thing you're saying, I know this isn't maybe an unfair comp, but what you're saying about Dak sounded like that as a rookie. Whatever questions there were about Dak, the 4th-round pick player, nobody was worried about his adult maturity, all of it. And receivers are different than quarterbacks. I understand that. But the Cowboys are just going to be in a very tricky spot because he has been too good to simply let walk. So he's a prime franchise tag candidate. But does anybody think that George Pickens will just say, oh, yes, I am happy to play under the franchise tag, a 1-year prove-it deal. I will see you guys first of training camp. That just feels like it is. We are seeing that was the sneak preview to the 2026 Cowboys offseason drama starring George Pickens.
Well, you brought up earlier, and I don't want this to come off the wrong way, because he is arguably the greatest receiver outside of Jerry Rice. But you said you can win. Randy Moss had some situations.
Absolutely.
Never won. As great as he was.
That's true.
As great, even with the Patriots, never won.
Walked off the field with a lead, I think.
Yeah. But
right. No, I'm just saying that a lot of T.O., great all-time great receiver, didn't win it. Now, he was great in the Super Bowl playing on a broken leg. I'm just saying that, sometimes I don't
know if either of those guys ever put up a performance like that.
Randy and
there's
Oakland
a ball
regularly.
There's a ball there, and he's not going to go get the ball.
Randy and Oakland regularly.
Yeah, Randy.
That's why you guys got him for a
almost like he wanted out.
Correct. Right. That's definitely true. And listen,
it's still wrong.
Tyreek Hill has, off the field, way worse track record than any of those guys, and on the field in Miami. And in the locker room in Miami, he's had some really bad moments. And obviously, you can win with him. So I do think you can. I think that you can. In pro football, you're going to have a few guys that are a lot to deal with. That in theory is fine. But it is, I worry about, I would really be worried about giving him a ton of long-term guaranteed money.
As much as we've been talking about Tomlin, as soon as Tomlin's like, it's not for me.
Right.
That hits my radar.
That's very true.
On the other side of the ball, Lions do not lose back-to-back games. They're 8-5. Jahmyr Gibbs scores 3 more touchdowns. We're going to talk a little bit more about Jahmyr Gibbs and the amazing things he's doing. Goff goes for
Barry Sanders stuff.
It's insane. We should talk about Jahmyr Gibbs every show.
and he's sharing the rock.
Yeah.
Lions are at 44% to make the playoff, according to our athletic playoff. They control their own destiny. If they win out, they're up in the 90s.
Like 75% of the teams in the league, if you win out, you're in good shape.
Hey.
Turns out the path to the playoffs is never losing from December 5th on. You're usually in good shape.
What did Detroit prove last night?
That they are very alive. And that if you can protect Goff, that offense can still be a 9 out of 10, even without Ben Johnson. I don't think it's quite as creative. I don't think it has as many wrinkles. They tried a wrinkle yesterday they didn't understand because, man, something about that eligible, ineligible 2-point conversion from 2 years ago against Dallas has still kept Dan Campbell up at night to where he's like, hey, Dan Skipper, go in motion, and we're going to throw you a screen from the 30.
Hey.
And so some of that stuff's not going to work as well. But if Goff is upright and clean, when you have Amon-Ra St. Brown, who was not expected to play and played, and Jahmyr Gibbs, who is one of the most talented running backs of the last decade. I think that's fair to say as far as raw talent, and his production's insane. That offense is going to hum. And so the nitty-gritty of it, Brou, is the NFC East is guaranteed one and only one playoff team. This is all like the Eagles. If the Eagles don't win the division, it means they have collapsed and they won't get in.
Yeah.
The NFC South is guaranteed one and only one playoff team, and both the Rams and the Seahawks are, as we sit here today, better than 94% to make it. So 4 spots are gone. So Chicago, Green Bay, the Niners, and Detroit. It is those 4. And so, again, Dallas could make it, but it has to be through by winning the division. Carolina could make it, has to be through. Those 4 teams are competing for 3 spots. So the Lions not only stayed alive, the sneaky second biggest loser yesterday was whoever loses Chicago, Green Bay this weekend.
Yeah.
That team hates that Detroit just got that win.
Look, I have felt this way all year, and I still feel this way, particularly after last night. I think that I think Green Bay is the best team in the division. We'll see. They got to beat Chicago Sunday, but they clearly are better than Detroit right now. They've beaten them twice. I think Detroit's better than Chicago. Now, they have to get in the playoffs above them, but I think they're better than – they beat them by freaking 31 points. I get it. It was early in the season, but they'll play them again. I thought they showed a ton of heart. Amon-Ra St. Brown was questionable. And he didn't just play. He was fantastic.
He was awesome.
For him to run, we know he's one of the greatest yak guys in the league, yards after catch. For him to do that yesterday on that bad ankle, that was exceptional. Because that's one of the things, the weaknesses of that Dallas defense. We saw Rashee Rice carve him up after the catch. For him to do that was a critical part of that game. So I thought that was huge. I thought their defense, stepped up and like I said, went zone. That seemed to throw Dallas off, particularly George Pickens. And so I don't think they're as good as they have been the last 2 years, but the NFC is wide open. I don't think the Rams are ahead and shoulders above everybody else in the NFC. We'll find out because they play next, Detroit and the Rams. But I think Detroit can be right there with anybody. Now, Green Bay has handled them. Can they beat them 3 times in the season? Will they even meet? I
kind of like that sometimes.
It's hard, right? It's hard to beat a team 3 times.
Why I don't want to beat the Bills and seem like 3 times.
No, that's very true.
Twice and not the playoffs.
Very true. So I think that I would not say they should be the favorite at all in the NFC if they make the playoffs. But I think they're right there
dangerous.
In the hunt with everybody else.
Before we get to the World Cup, Dusty, can we just put up the Opta stat about Jahmyr Gibbs? Because this is just, I feel like sometimes stat companies have a contest to see who can write the more amazing stats. Okay, over his last 7 games, he's had a game with 250.
A game with 200 rush.
A game with 200 rush. A game with 100 receiving yards, 10 catches, 14 yards, 3 games with 3 TDs, a 75-yard rush. And what was the final one?
75-yard rush TD, and no one else in NFL history has ever done that in their entire career. He's done it in the last 7 weeks.
I mean, granted,
he also
they're
just
a little
tied
specific, but
Barry Sanders
on fire
for most touchdowns before 25.
Or is it,
I think it was before turning, maybe both.
But probably both. In his first 3 years, and he has more games. He's going to break it. The rest. Of the
I haven't looked at the carries, but my guess is Barry Sanders had a lot more carries. I'm not saying he's better than Barry Sanders.
No, but he is ahead of Barry right now up to this point in their career in yards per carry.
Yeah.
And again, Barry Sanders has an argument he's the greatest running back ever. I'm not saying that. He's a special player, and he's a player that when they drafted, everyone made fun of him. For the record, people are like, a running back that high, like I might have been one of the people.
It's been a nice resurgence. Right.
You
probably were. He's like, smart people. Really, guys in the know, right? They didn't like it. I mean, who knew?
47
nice running back resurgence, though.
In 45 games in his career. All right, as Brou mentioned, Lions on extra rest before taking on the Rams in LA. Okay, World Cup draw was today on Fox. Star-studded affair. We were in Group D. We will face Paraguay, Australia, and the winner of a playoff between Turkey, Romania, Slovakia, and Kosovo. We'll know who comes out of that in March.
Yep.
Here's Alexi Lalas in the postgame with USA men's coach Pochettino. Take a listen.
When I look at the group, it would be an absolute disaster for the U.S. not to get out of this group. What do you want them to see from your players? What do you want them to see from this team when they tune in and watch the U.S. play?
I understand that you are in another side, but my message to the player is we need to compete better than Paraguay. That is going to be difficult. Australia is going to be difficult, and the team that is going to join us is going to be difficult. We need to build our journey step by step.
Yeah.
Okay, your reaction to the draw?
About to as good as imaginable as possible. So listen, I had Josh do a very, very simple, ranking of the draws by this. So because the fourth team in each region or in each pod, you don't know who it is for half of them. Right. That's why. So just the world rankings of the top 3 teams in each group. The easiest by that metric is Canada's, but that is in part because they got a higher seed than they should have because they're a host nation. Mm-hmm. The second easiest is Mexico, and the third easiest is the U.S. The host countries came out really well. Like you were worried about the group of death. The group of death, without question, is Group L. Poor England. It's England, Croatia, Ghana, and Panama, which is a disaster. The U.S. does not have a team in its group ranked in the top 25 in the world other than the U.S. And so we got
Australia's 26.
Right, but again, keep in mind that Group 2 or the Pod B, whatever it is, they were the lowest. We got the lowest ranked Pod 2 team possible.
Yes.
So 26 was the lowest we could have gotten, and we got it. Paraguay is not a very high ranked Pod 3 team. Now, Turkey, if we get them, is better than the average Pod 4 team. But this worked out great, and to your point earlier, we just played Paraguay and fought them. We just played Australia, and they hurt Pulisic. And so we played them both recently. I'd say this is a 8.5 out of 10 as far as ideal draws.
We beat them both in the friendlies, but 2-1, I mean, the score doesn't always tell how close or not close it was, but still 2-1. I agree with everything you said, Nick. We should obviously come out of this group shining, but they're going to hear a lot of this. They're hearing a lot of this already, and they're going to keep hearing it. So just stay focused and don't take these teams lightly, because we're not at the level where we can take anybody lightly.
Well, it's funny, like the friendly matches that we would put them in weird and wonderful. But the fact that there's real drama coming out of both matches, where the Paraguay game was a pretty big fracas at the end. It wasn't just a little pushing and shoving. It was a whole sideline affair. And Richard's quote post-Australia, because Pulisic got hurt, they said we weren't trying to hurt Pulisic on purpose, was they're lucky it was a friendly. I was ready to go. And if the referees didn't give me a blank yellow in the corner, I probably would have killed somebody. That's Richard's quote. So he is fired up for these teams that we can get.
Like that. You want that.
Another shot at. Good.
Just real quick, for the World Cup at large, Spain and Argentina, who are the top 2 ranked teams in the world, got absolute ideal draws. And so if you're a soccer fan, like the odds of them not making the knockout round was very close to 0, and now with them getting these draws, it's basically 0. And England and France. England drew Senegal, which is really good, out, and Norway, which is far and away, and Holland, the best team in Pod 3, if you will. And England dealing with Croatia, the best team from Pod 2, and Ghana, which is way better than most of the Pod 4 teams. England got a brutal, brutal draw. So England and France probably a little upset. Spain and Argentina thrilled, and the U.S. in really good shape.
USA, Paraguay, 188 days in SoFi. Match schedule comes out tomorrow, so we'll see who's in Kansas City.
Well, if the seedings hold, if you will, Cristiano Ronaldo and Portugal will play their first knockout game in Kansas City.
Oh, that's cool.
It'll be pretty sick.
Wow.
Yeah. Nice. Might go up. I'm
excited. We're going to do the show there, I assume.
Of course.
Yeah, it'll be pretty good.
There's not. It's good that some football will be there.
Okay. Wow. Welcome back, fellas.
Welcome back.
You are pretty good.
I think they like.
I started to get nervous that you wouldn't get a chance. Steelers at Ravens Sunday afternoon. Lamar did not practice yesterday, a pattern of missing some practices to deal with
really
a series of injuries. Now, the good news is, Brou, he was good to go today, but here's how the season has played out. First 5 games, he was excellent, remember?
I do remember.
You were like, I don't care about the bad defense.
He was great.
Lamar's
The
doing
defense
his
was
thing.
horrible.
Yeah.
Then they said, you know what, let's take the toys out. And the defense loved it, and Lamar hated it.
What is, just real quick, the final game of that first 5, when he had 4 touchdowns, was after he came back from injury.
So that was
So he's
Miami.
He's
Miami
played
was great.
5 games since he came back from injury. The first, he was awesome.
Yeah.
He had 4 touchdowns and almost perfect.
And that
I
one,
circulated
as far
that in
as
my
we
mind.
know, he
Yeah.
was
but-
was healthy.
Yes, that
fully
was
healthy.
But then after that is when it went to the knee, the ankle, the toe.
Right.
Yeah.
Brou, do you need to see a huge game from Lamar Jackson?
I need to see a win. That's it. Now, sure, the best win would be Lamar looking like he looked earlier in the season and leading them to victory. That'd be great. But I'll take a win. At this point, it's get in the playoffs. Now, I said yesterday, I've been saying, and I feel this way 100%. I am confident he's going to turn it around. I don't know that he'll get back to having 130 passer rating every game, but I think he'll definitely start playing not only better, but good, really good football. But I'm not saying it'll be Sunday. I just think by the end of the year, he will gradually start to get better and be playing well if going into the playoffs. But what I think they will end up doing with Pittsburgh, I think it's a run game, especially if Lamar isn't cooking.
Correct.
Like last week, Buffalo put 250 yards on them, right? 249. Buffalo now, you might say they're the best run defense or run offense in the league. Baltimore's 4th. You got Derrick Henry. They got James Cook. You got Derrick Henry. Keaton Mitchell's okay. So I see this could be a big Derrick Henry game. And that's what, if Lamar is not playing great, John Harbaugh has got to just make it a Derrick Henry game. Maybe you go into it like this is a Derrick Henry game. We're going to run the football. On their 5-game win streak, Henry averaged 20 carries a game. 20, and he didn't always have great games. Sometimes he was averaging 3.5 yards a carry, but he was still getting 19, 18, 21 carries. The loss to Cincinnati, 10 carries, even though he averaged 6 yards a carry. The loss to Kansas City, 8 carries. Detroit, 12 carries. I get it. You got down in some of those games. Still, if you're down, it's not like you're down 40 points. You can be down and still run the football. So I could see this being a big run game for them. And maybe that lightens things up on Lamar and he starts to play better.
Big game for Lamar is off the board in this matchup.
Ooh.
Wow.
It's just not what he does against the Steelers. Like, when you look at his overall statistics against the Steelers, they are not glowing.
Wasn't he pretty good last year?
He was good the last 2
The
games.
last 2
Week
games.
16
And those are the first 2. Yep.
in wild card
playoff,
game.
yeah, right.
He was good in those matchups, but his career against the Steelers is not good. He's going to turn the ball over. He's not going to throw for a lot of touchdowns. He's not going to throw for a lot of yards. That's not what he does against the Steelers. They tend to have his number. And so I don't need to see a big game. What I do need to see is him not look like what we've seen the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Period. Or this team is done, whether it's going to be this week or next week or whatever it is. If Lamar Jackson does not show us any sign that he can get back to being what we have become accustomed to, this team is done.
Well, and
Well, that's
I totally agree
true
with
if
him.
he
And
doesn't get close to
to
it.
Greg's point, what he has looked like these past 4 games, you showed it side by side, but here it is with league ranks. It's not a stretch to say he's been one of the worst quarterbacks in the league for a month. That's just, and now that's
shocking.
That
It
is.
is.
That's
It really is.
That's a kind of piece of evidence in your column of he's really hurt. A piece of evidence against it is Todd Monken was asked about it yesterday, and he described these as, quote, little nagging injuries. That doesn't, there is always this, and evidently the reason he missed practice yesterday was because on Wednesday someone stepped on his foot in practice, which is what led him to miss the practice. That's the local reporters.
That
that's what
almost
they
made me
said.
think that again, it's just conjecture. If someone steps on your foot, you miss a whole game of practice, or no, for real, or is it like there's something underneath?
Well, yeah,
I'm really
he had been
hurt.
dealing with a toe. Right, he had been dealing with a toe.
Again, we don't know left or right still.
And so, but here's
your guy, Siciliano, Andrew.
Yes, I have.
Andrew Siciliano.
I have this quote.
You have it?
It's shocking.
Yeah.
What is it?
Go ahead.
I haven't seen
Friend
it.
of the show.
Yeah, he did our draft for us.
All right, so his first 7 years of Lamar's career, he led all quarterbacks with 104 missed tackles on design runs. This year, he's got 20 designed runs. Guess how many missed tackles? 0.
Forced missed tackles.
Yeah,
0.
People miss.
Yeah, and
you can just see the eyes. He clearly isn't running. Even when he was throwing the ball well, he wasn't running like he usually.
I expect one guy.
And so this is, but this is where this is a tenuous spot for Lamar, because due to his, compared to the other guys in the quarterbacking Big Four, the before
Josh,
Drake
oh
made,
gosh.
just wait on Drake. His playoff performances are a negative on his column. Oh, you know what I mean? For Patrick's, it's all time. Josh has been really good. Burrow made the Super Bowl. Lamar has none of those things. The thing Lamar has been able to hang his hat on is, but in the regular season, I might be the best ever. I am as dynamic and unstoppable, a unanimous MVP as my second year, almost another one 2 years ago, unanimous that is, and then almost another. Man, it really hurts Lamar to have a bad regular season in a way it doesn't hurt the other guys. Because the regular season, I know it sounds mean, I don't mean it to. The regular season is his thing. Yeah. Now, a bad regular season where they back into the playoffs and then he's awesome in the postseason, it would be great. He'd sign up for it. But I think a bad regular season would prevent them from getting into the playoffs this year.
Yeah.
I
mean, look, and if he continues to play poorly, say they miss the playoffs, get bounced in the first round, whatever, but he comes back next year and is great.
Then it's fine.
Yeah, because we saw Burrow have a bad regular season a couple years ago.
See what that was? I'm out here like
this guy.
Already, that's the first next year talk we've gotten from Brou. That's the first one on. Yeah, next year, it'll be all right. Chiefs hosting the Texans Sunday night. Mahomes threw 4 touchdowns last week. Texans defense has allowed 4 passing touchdowns in the last 4 weeks. Chiefs defense hasn't come up with the stops they need late. Are we doing the sound here from Spags here? I'm not 100% sure. Excellent. Here's what's at stake. We're going to save some sound that you're going to love later on.
Yeah.
37% chance to make the playoffs entering this game. If they win, up to 51%.
Call it. 51%'s enough. If they win, call the season.
That's right.
Let's start the playoffs.
Down to 11%. Who's under more pressure, the Chiefs' offense or defense?
Listen, it's not fair. It's always Patrick. He's always the one under the most pressure. And so Patrick Mahomes is the greatest, full sentence here, greatest quarterback in NFL history against the best defense in the league. We've never seen a quarterback have this type of success against number 1 defenses. We can show it to you. In the 7-2, 300 yards, 17 touchdowns, 8 picks. And so normally, Greg, I'd puff my chest out today and be like, Patrick, that's what to expect from Patrick Mahomes on Sunday night. Mm-hmm. That's not what I expect from Patrick Mahomes on Sunday night, because I think that one of those 2 losses came in a Super Bowl with a beat-up offensive line, and another one came, it wasn't the Super Bowl, I can't remember it, I apologize, but it was, again, when he was running for his life. Like, I fear maybe he will be Sunday night with 3 offensive linemen potentially out. So there's going to be more external pressure on Patrick. Internally from the team, what they need is the defense to make this show the Chiefs when they blitz. The Chiefs for 3 years when they blitzed, that's how they got off the field. For 3 years, made 3 straight Super Bowls. They were one of the best blitzing teams in football. Yep. And this year, they're one of the worst, which is a big problem, Greg, because they can't get pressure without blitzing.
Exactly.
And so, they have to blitz more than most teams do.
Yeah, and this is why I say it's more pressure on the defense, because we all expect Patrick Mahomes to rise to the occasion based on what you even said. And when you really quick on the on the Texans defense. The difference between them and Denver they'll blitz you. They can get pressure with their front four, and they're going to play man behind it. The Texans aren't going to do that. They tend to play zone behind it, which is beneficial to Patrick in that receiving core. So I think he'll have more success than what we probably think. But this defense cannot let C.J. Stroud, who has been struggling for 2 years now, to run this offense and get it opened up and get it to look like anything we saw in year one. This defense has to dominate that offense. They don't run the ball particularly well. They don't throw the ball particularly well. They don't have the weapons that they just faced last week against the Cowboys. There is no excuse for this defense to not dominate in this game and get off the field when it matters. And when Chris Jones, the fourth quarter comes, if the game is tight, he dominates. He has to do that.
Yeah, I'm glad you said defense because, Nick, you were clear. It's offense. It's Mahomes. And I was torn. I think it's really close because both are under pressure. I'm going to go with the offense just because they're facing a much better unit. I get what you're saying, and that probably is the path for them winning is the defense being great. But the offense is facing such a, like you said, they're not facing a good offense at all. Maybe not even a mediocre offense. But the Chiefs' offense is facing a terrific defense without at least its best offensive lineman and then a couple guys that might be out as well. Yeah. So I think it's going to be tough on the Chiefs. And we, like you said in that graphic, we've seen Mahomes struggle. When he's been at his worst, it's been because he's just getting pressured constantly, and they guard well in the back. So I think the pressure's on the offense.
It's kind of weird that we've been talking about this game like the Texans are favored and they're not.
Yeah.
So maybe it's like we're just reacting to your confidence.
I honestly think this is the first game the Chiefs have played in years that I go into not feeling great.
Yeah,
And so maybe that's why because the Chiefs opened as 3.5-point favorites and they have stayed as 3.5-point favorites. That we knew all week, we knew from the end of last week they were probably going to be without these three offensive linemen like that. Nothing, but so I don't know. Here's what I like. I will tell you this. I like that it's going to be 20 degrees.
Yes, I was gonna say.
I like that it's going to have a playoff feel.
Yep.
And I like that the Chiefs have a lot of familiarity with this opponent. Like they played in December and in January. So for a non-divisional opponent, that's a ton of reps against them. But I do not like their D-line against the Chiefs.
The reason why it's going to be this defense because when you look at the Kansas City Chiefs and the performance that they had last week, I just don't see them not being able to get off the field against a C.J. Stroud-led offense.
I hope so.
That has been struggling all year.
Quickly, Greg, if the Texans win this game, I mean, they've beaten the Bills, they've beaten the Colts, they've beaten the Jags, they've beaten the Chiefs. What are you willing to say about the Texans on Monday?
This defense is going to carry them into the postseason, and we're going to be riding with this defense to see how great this defense can do. I'm not willing to.
Rational.
Not willing to back.
You're a Patriots guy. Like, there'll be a playoff team.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.